Stop my video. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get started. So my name is Hope, and I'm excited to be here today to present to you a how-to on PowerPoint presentation. Just to give some background, I'm a data analyst on Wyndham's digital analytics team, and I've been here for about over a year, and I absolutely love it. So in addition to analyzing data, I have to regularly present data and insights to various teams. So I use PowerPoint all the time. PowerPoint is the primary tool for presentations. There are some other online tools, but PowerPoint is the industry standard and personally my favorite. So I'll be taking you through some tips and tricks on PowerPoint. It's going to be a little challenging to present a tool that I'm using in the moment, so just bear with me and we'll have a lot of Q&As and everything. We'll be doing a few live demos together and examples in real time. So if you have any questions throughout, feel free to just cut me off or write them down and we can go through them during our Q&As. So before we do a deep dive into PowerPoint, I thought we could start by going through PowerPoint's basic functions and tools. I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with PowerPoint, so I thought we could start by going through just these tabs up here. So looking at the File tab. This tab is what you use for the behind the scenes stuff you do with a file, such as opening, saving, sharing, exporting, printing, and managing your presentation. Do you guys want me to go through each of these, or do you think it's pretty self-explanatory? It's totally up to you.
You don't have to go through it.
Okay.
On my behalf.
Okay. So we can always come back to it if someone else has a question. So then up here you have other tabs. This is the Home tab. The Home tab holds the cut and paste features, font and paragraph options, and what you need to add and organize slides. So if I click on this, I can change the font, change the size. This little gadget makes the font go bigger or smaller, or I can just use this here. You can add in shapes here. It's like a quick navigation. Fill the shapes, but this is pretty standard, and you can insert a new slide here. Next is the Insert tab. This is the tab where you can add something to a slide. So anything from pictures to videos to tables, symbols, text boxes, this is where you're gonna do it. You're just gonna grab it from this Insert tab. On the Design tab, you can add in a theme or color scheme or format the slide background. Next is the Transition and Animations tabs. So today I won't really be going to detail on these because I find they are the least used functions in PowerPoint. Within the past few years, transitions and animations have kind of fizzled out of business presentations. I've yet to see a transition and a presentation at my job, so I don't think you guys need to stress about these two tabs. But just for your knowledge, the Transitions tab is used to set up how your slides will change from one to the next. So if you want one like fizzling in or fizzling out, stuff like that. And then the Animations tab is to choreograph the movement of things on your slide. But seriously, don't stress about those tabs. Next is the Slideshow tab. This is where you can set up the way you want to show your presentation to others. So if I hit this, we're going to go right into the presentation from that slide. If I hit that button, we'll start from the beginning. Then you have your review tab that lets you add in comments, run spell check, or compare one presentation with another, such as an earlier version. And then lastly, you have the View tab. This allows you to look at your presentation in different ways depending on where you are in the creation or delivery process. Okay, so that was a quick run through of those tools in the PowerPoint functions. Throughout the rest of the presentation, I'll be touching on a few different functions and going into more detail about certain ones that I like to use. But does anyone have any questions on this?
No.
Okay, great. So let's get into tips. There are many ways to start a presentation, but I find these ways help create a well thought out and beautiful presentation in the end. Before choosing any theme, design, or anything, you must do some prep. Preparation is essential for many reasons, but mainly because it ensures that your presentation is including all the important information. The first thing I do when I start any presentation is I start by making an outline. Looking at the image on the right here, this was literally how I started to make this presentation I'm showing to you right now. I just created new blank slides, titled them, and maybe added some bullet points of things I didn't want to forget, but it was pretty basic. Once you have an idea of how your slides are going to flow, that's when you can start to put in all the important information. Making sure everything is written down in the presentation is crucial. Design and details will come later. Don't forget to highlight what is important. You always can bold certain text that you want to stand out, like I did on this slide. By doing this, you will ensure your audience will be taking away or be walking away with the right message. So you want to really highlight things, always bold them, or sometimes I'll even put a bold on them and maybe even change the font to a different color so it really stands out. Next, limit your words. This is something that I find is important and often forgotten in many presentations that I see these days. So when I'm sitting in a meeting and someone is presenting and has a slide that looks like this, I tend to get lost in all the words. Also, you will see that ice cream is the theme of all examples today. But as you can see, the audience has no idea what the main point is and will most likely start to disengage. However, when you are creating your presentation's outline, like I showed previously, you will probably have slides that look like this, but it is your mission to then turn slides like this into fun, simple, and engaging slides like this one. Almost everything from that previous slide that I just showed you is on this slide. I just reworked a few things and made it animated. I also created a subheading so the audience knows we are comparing ice cream preferences between women and men. And I really like these subheadings because it's like you have your main point here and then just one little detail at the bottom. I also added in shapes and icons to draw people in and highlight any key statistics. You can create shapes around statistics or just make them bold and stand out with a bright color. So as you see here at the top, I just did literally I just put a circle around a statistic, and then down here, I highlighted it with bold lettering and a different color just to have it stand out. So you can see both examples. So when you look at this slide, it is easy to have key takeaways as opposed to looking at the previous slide. So remember to keep it simple and less is more effective. In school, one of my professors once told me about the rule of 4 by 5, which means 4 bullet points of 5 words each. This can be hard to do sometimes, but just keep it in the back of your mind when you're creating your presentations. You know, you're not going to get exactly 4 bullet points and 5 words each, but it's just a goal. It's a good thing to think of when you're creating your presentation. And then if you have a lot you want to say about a certain topic and there's a lot of information and points you want to make, honestly, just split it into 2 slides. Trust me, it'll be way more effective to your audience and it will just look better. Once you have your content, you can now use relevant charts and data to back it. By adding in charts such as line graphs, donut charts, like the one I have here, this is a donut chart, and bar charts and many others, they're not only adding context to your topic you're discussing, you are also making it more memorable to your audience. Knowing how to develop and deliver a data-driven presentation has become a crucial skill for many professionals in the recent years. Data is growing everywhere. And the story you are telling your audience becomes even more compelling when you have these kind of numbers to back you up. But if you don't have the numbers, that's fine. You don't want to force it. But if you do have the numbers, it's a great way to add in visualizations into your presentation. Okay. So that's all great, but how do you even create this? Well, let's create a basic business slide together in a live demo. I can show you how I created that previous slide right here, and we can just do it together. So it's just right here. You put in your title here. I'm not gonna write the whole thing. And then one of my favorite things is, as you can see in all my slides, I like to put the titles in uppercase. I just find, you know, it draws your attention right there so I know exactly what's happening as soon as I look at the slide, you know? So a cool tool, instead of you hitting the caps lock on your keyboard and then writing it all out, you can just go to this little guy right here. It's called change case and just hit uppercase. It also has capitalize each word, sentence case, but in this example, we're gonna do uppercase. And then you can put your bullet points in here. Say you don't want this text box here, you can change the layout up here. But we want this here, so I'm not gonna write out all the bullet points. And then I didn't choose, you know how we mentioned this design tab right here? I didn't choose a design for this PowerPoint because I wanted to keep it more simple. So all this purple that you're seeing, it's either me changing the background color or adding in a shape. So to get this little this little purple header, this is what I did. I just did insert, shape, rectangle, and I went to the top of this slide and went over here. And then you can see how, since I made this shape after I did the title, it's layered on top of the title, but we don't want that to happen. So you just right click on your shape and you can just send it back. So you're sending it back to all the layers you created on this slide. And then we want to make it a different color. So let's do this color. And then you can see here, there's an outline on the shape. Some people like that outline, but for this one, we don't want an outline. So I'm going to go to shape outline and I'm going to say no outline. Then how do I get this chart in here? So I made this chart in Excel. I'm not going to show you how to do that because it's a different day. But if you have something in Excel that's made, you just open up your Excel tab. I'm just going to select the chart, do Control-C, or I can right-click and hit copy. Then I'm going to go to my slide, right-click, and I'm just going to hit this, use destination theme and link data. So using that paste option, whenever that means that when I go into Excel and I change maybe a title, it's going to automatically update here because I'm linking the data. And then I like to have, I feel like this is just kind of random without an outline around it. So I want to put an outline around this. So you click on your chart and you see how this thing pops up right there, that little navigation. You go to Format, Shape Outline, and let's make it black. And then you can see on the slide, I had this little text box. I just created that myself. So go up here, or I could go to Insert, but this is just a quick navigation at home. Let's put this in, and then insert your key statistic. And then it kind of just looks weird like that. So let's add an outline around it. You select it, go to Format, and then Shape Outline. So that's kind of how I made that slide. Does anyone have any questions right now on that?
Yes, can you just repeat the last thing you did?
Which one? This right here?
Let me see. Yeah, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I want to add in, when you put a chart, it's really important to write maybe just like one sentence or like a bullet about the chart underneath it or on the side of it. So I added in, if we go back to this slide, you can see I have about 45% of women prefer the flavor chocolate. So let's insert and then a text box. And then I just shaped it to the size of my chart. You can shape it however you want, but I just think it looks cleaner when I do it right below it like that. And then you just type in insert key stat or whatever you're putting in there. And you can either leave it like that, just underneath, or if you want to add the outline, you're just gonna highlight your text box. And you can see up here, when I'm not clicking anything, it's not, the drawing format isn't there. But when I highlight it, the drawing tools format is there. And then I go to shape outline and I can pick the color of my outline. Does that make sense?
Thanks, that helps.
Yep, great. So any other questions? Okay, so if anything comes up, just let me know, or you can save it for the end. So now we will be going into some tricks within PowerPoint that I thought would be fun to share with you all. As we get into like the last few tricks, they get a little more challenging as we go. So feel free to just be like, hey, Hope, can you slow down? So starting with design, I kind of mentioned this before, but applying a fresh design and theme to your presentation is one of the most fun parts for me personally. I think it's fun to, I get to be my little artist during this time, but sometimes it can be intimidating to people because there are just so many options to choose from. You can either create your design from scratch by just using shapes, a specific font and colors like I did with this presentation and like I just showed you, or you can choose a template for your presentation by going to the design tab at the top navigation. Keep in mind that some of these colors, as you can see, are a little crazy. So just ignore all the colors as you are looking through these templates and focus more on the format and design of it because colors can always be changed. Once you decide on your template, you can decide on a color palette. When choosing your color palette, you want to keep in mind the audience you're presenting to. If it is a formal presentation, I always try to do 3 colors or less. But if it is a more casual or fun presentation, you can do as many as you want. It's totally up to you. In this black box, I have created some business professional color palettes that I recommend using. It is important to note, and I say really important, that you want to stay away from using greens and reds as a presentation's theme color because historically, green signifies positive and growth, and red represents negative and something bad. So even if the topic you're discussing is not saying like something good versus bad, in the back of the viewer's mind, they will always associate those feelings with those 2 colors. So I would only use red and green when you are highlighting something that's good versus bad. My go-to is blue, as you can see, because almost all the color palettes have blue in them, but it's a great neutral business color that you can use in almost any presentation. After going through the basics of the PowerPoint toolbar, I wanted to show you a preview of how I use specific functions in the toolbar. After this, I will do a demo of these 2 functions, which are some of my favorites and most used. So number 1, adding in shapes and icons. Like I mentioned before, shapes, icons, images, all of them elevate any presentation, especially when you use them correctly. So looking at this first example, you can see the difference between the plain text right here, 11% of people are left-handed, just a plain statistic, versus adding a circle around statistic. It just elevates the look. Just a little simple circle just elevates it. One of my other favorite functions is the align tool. This tool helps center any shapes or text boxes that you have on your slide. Alignment can be tricky to get right when you're freehanding, so this tool comes in handy. I don't know if you guys have tried before, but like trying to get these boxes to all be in the same row and the same width apart is very frustrating, and I struggle with it all the time. So this align tool is very, very helpful. So looking at this example right here, I have 3 various types of insights, all of which are centered and spaced out evenly within the slide. As you can see, it's the same distance. Something so little can really change the look of your presentation. It just makes it look more formal and really, it just pulls it together. So let's do it together. To add in the circle, we're gonna go to insert, because we're adding in something. We're gonna go to shape, and then this shape. And you're just gonna drag and move it. You can make it as big or small as you want, but it's gonna look like that. And then again, since we added in the shape after we have the text there, we just wanna right click on the shape and we wanna send it to the back. And then obviously you can see it's not very centered, so let's just move that to as best as we can. And then we wanna change the color of the shape. So that's the shape fill. So let's go to this purple color. And then again, every shape, I don't know why, but it's just like PowerPoint's default is to have an outline around it. You can either keep that outline, but for this look, we want to take the outline away. Hold on one sec. Okay. No outline. And then let's just move it up. Something like that. Or we can do no fill and change the shape outline to be that, just to highlight it. And then for this second example, we want to make these all in the same row. So to do this, you're gonna click on the first one, hold down shift the entire time. So click on the second one, I'm still holding down shift, and click on the third one. And then you're gonna go to format, align, align middle. And look at that, it just brings them all right to the middle for you. I'm telling you, it saves you a lot of time. Okay, does anyone have any questions about that? All right, so I'll move to the next thing. This trick is one of the most helpful tricks out there because no one wants a white background standing out on their slide. It is not the best look. So sometimes when searching for images or icons on Google that you want to bring into your presentation, they will automatically come with a transparent background, which is great. However, most of the time they don't. So you can actually make the background transparent yourself. So the steps to do this, you're going to go into Google, grab whatever icon you want, copy and paste it into your presentation. You're going to click on the image. And when you click on the image, you're going to see that picture tools format pop up. Then you're going to go to remove background. And from there, it's pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to do it together because you know how I love my demos. So you're going to, once you paste in the image from Google, you're going to highlight it. You see picture tools come up, format, and then we're going to select remove background. So there's this little outline right here. You want to expand it to the entire part of your icon. So it was kind of cutting off that circle, so we pulled it out. And right now you can see the X is highlighted. So PowerPoint was like, oh, I see the shape, let me highlight it. That will keep. But we also want the circle around. So we have to go over here and hit mark areas to keep, and then just hold it down, drag it, and you see how now the circle's highlighted. So that's great. And then the white background is faded out. We can't see it right now. So then we hit keep changes. And look at that. Now you can put this on any background and you won't have the white around it. Does anyone have any questions? You want me to do it again?
Yeah. Hope, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, of course. So, I'm just going back. So you pull in your image and you want to hit format, remove background. And it's really crucial to pull this thing up to where your the image that you want is in the box. And then say that I just hit keep changes now. You see that circle, since I didn't highlight it, it didn't come in, it didn't pull through. So let's go back. We want to pull this down and hit mark areas to keep. And we want to highlight that. We're just going to click on it. Say I accidentally mess up and I highlight that, and then I hit keep changes. You see how that white part is there now too, because I selected it. So let's go back. And if I accidentally highlight something that I don't want to highlight, I can hit mark areas to remove and unhighlight it. But we want this entire icon, and then we hit keep changes, and it's right here. Okay. So for our last trick, I'm going to show you how to create these moving screens. This is a real crowd pleaser over here in the digital world. Every time I put this into a presentation, everyone wants to know how I do it after. So it's really fun, and it's a great way to get your crowd engaged. So when would you use this feature? There are many different reasons why someone could use this feature. I think the most important reason is that everything has become so digital recently, and adding in animations like these will literally bring your slides to life and capture the entire room's attention. So let's learn how to do this together. It could be a little confusing, so we're just going to take it step by step. And if you're lost, you want me to slow down or have any questions, please let me know. Hold on, sorry. Okay, so step one, you have to find the device image on Google, and you have to make sure it has a transparent background. I know I just showed you guys how to make a transparent background, but I find in this example, it is really hard to do that part yourself because as you can see, these device images just have a lot of details to them. So it's like, compared to just a cartoon icon like I just showed you, it's really difficult. So you're going to go into Google and search for the device you want and add the phrase at the end of it with transparent background. Please note that Google likes to play tricks and make you think a background is transparent when it is actually not. So we're going to do this example together, and I'll explain to you how you know the difference. So let's go into Google. we want a laptop with transparent background. You always want to put that. So you could do Android with transparent background, iPhone with transparent background, whatever device you want to be shown, just do with transparent background at the end of it. And then you're going to go to your images. So you want on the search results page, you know it's a transparent background if the image has a white background, and then when you click on it, you see how that changed to gray and white boxes. So that gray and white boxes lets you know that when I copy him into PowerPoint, he's going to have no white around him, nothing. It's just going to be the laptop. But if you look at the search results and you see all these images that have these boxes, that means they're actually not transparent. When I copied this image into PowerPoint, it's going to come with those boxes. So let me just do that real quick so you guys know what I mean. If I copy it in, you see how the boxes are still around it? So when you're in the search results page, you want to look for an image that has a white background, and then when you click on it, then it turns to the boxes. So we'll do more with that in a second. Step 2, copying and pasting the transparent background into your slide. This is different than just copying in any image, because when you copy in an image, you use this third option, but for using transparent backgrounds, you want to use this second option, the keep source formatting. If you don't use this option, your image will be pasted in with a black background where it was once transparent. So let's go back into Google and I'll show you what I mean. So we saw that this is a transparent background. We're going to right click and hit copy image. We're going to go into our slide. And when I right click and I hit this third option, you see how the background is now black? Because we hit that option. But when I right click and I hit this second keep source formatting, you see how it comes in now? There's no background. I can literally put this on any background and there'll be no white around it. So you always want to hit this keep source formatting. Does that make sense so far? Okay,
Yes.
good. All right, so this is your final step, which is the most tricky part, recording your video for the animation. If you're doing a mobile device, you would just do a screen recording on your phone and email the video to yourself, and then bring it into the PowerPoint with using your insert tab and then clicking on video. Your iPhone, I don't know, iPhones, Androids, iPhones have the capability, and Android, you have to download an app to do a screen recording. However, if you were doing a laptop or desktop recording, you would actually create the recording right here in PowerPoint. So you would go to the insert tab, or little handy dandy insert tab that has everything, and you would go all the way on the right and click screen recording right here. PowerPoint will prompt you on how to record the video from there. Once the video is recorded and you end it, it will show up on your slide. To edit your video, you'll want to select the video, and once you select it, a new tab will pop up called Video Tools. I only really play around in this playback section. I don't really go into this format section. There's no need to go into the format section really. So in this playback section, I like to select start automatically. So that means when you're in your presentation mode, the video will start automatically like you saw. And then I also like to hit loop until stop. That just means that once the video is done, it will just keep looping. So if you're talking about your video while you're presenting, and how much you're talking is longer than your video, it's not just going to stop. It will just keep going. So let's do one last demo together. Since we're on the whole ice cream kick right now, I'm going to go to Ben & Jerry's website and we're just going to record their home screen. So we're going to go to Ben & Jerry's. I have it up right here. Once you have what you want to record up, go into PowerPoint and you're going to go into Insert. And then all the way on the right, you're going to hit Screen Recording. This is what will pop up. So if you would like to do like audio on the back of your recording, you totally can, but I personally don't do that. I don't know, you can, but totally up to you. So I'm gonna unselect audio because I don't want any noise in my video. And then you're gonna hit select area. So this is where you can either select a small part of your screen or you can select the entire screen. So since we're doing a laptop, we wanna select the entire screen so it looks like someone's on a laptop. and then you're going to hit record. And when you hit record, PowerPoint will show you how to exit out of it. So we're going to hit the logo key, Shift Q to stop recording. So my recording is going on right now. Just look up and down, and then you're going to hit the logo, Shift Q. And then you see how the video just popped up right here. So we're going to go to playback. And like I said, I always put it on automatic and then loop until stopped. Notice that the video isn't playing right now. To play it, you just hit here. But once we go into the presentation mode down here, then it will start to play. Say that you forgot how to end the video recording when you're recording, and so you have a ton of stuff at the end of the video that you want to trim. This has happened to me. I had to look up during my video recording how to stop the video recording on Google. So I want to trim that from the video. You can just hit that trim option up here. And if you want to trim out the back, or let's trim out the front because I didn't have the website up yet. So we'll start it to where the website was up. And then you hit OK. Now you have to resize this to fit into your laptop screen. This is kind of just trial and error. It's not going to fit perfect, which is fine. You don't need it to fit perfect. So we'll just try to see. I think that looks fine. And then do you notice how your video is in front of your laptop? Because we did it after we put the laptop there. So we want to do this thing where we hit the right click again and we send it to the back. So now it looks like it's in the screen.
Oh my gosh.
So now you can see that this is the top layer and your video is actually the back layer. And then if you want to go back to your video, you just have to move this out of the way. You can click on this and go back to your video, because now you can't access it until this layer's out of the way. And then just to show you, we'll go into the presentation mode, and you can see it just starts automatically. So I know that was a lot. This is a really hard technique, but it's a real crowd pleaser, like I said, so it's definitely worth it if you want to add it in. But does anyone have any questions? Because that's pretty much all that I have for you guys. So if there's any questions at all, or if you saw something on my slides and you were like, ooh, I want to know how to do that, let me know. We can just go through it together. It's kind of just opening up the table for all of you guys.